Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Aftershock Corner, Season 2, Episode 2. I'm Owen the Birdman Finch, and I'm here to give you this episode. You're probably wondering where the hell why we haven't been doing episodes lately. Well, because pretty much last week, we had 2 snow days, so we weren't able to go to school to do these. So I figured, it's getting to the point where I'm just gonna do the video myself. And everyone probably will be pissed that I did it myself and didn't talk to them about it first. But I don't know. I'm just talking about last week's stuff, and it's kind of old now, like to some people, since they saw Raw this week. So I'm just gonna talk about last week's stuff, really. And I really do want to apologize for the lack, because I wanted to do this video earlier, but I was also making my retro wrestling review series video, and that took a while for me to make. It took me 3 days to make that episode, because I've also been busy with schoolwork and I had to shovel outside and all that stuff. So yeah, I was even wondering too at the point if I was gonna even do this video at all, because I was like, I think a week. I think that because I really wasn't feeling it really. So I was like, I think a week of not talking about it, of taking a break, and just wait until this Friday when we do the Master Soil Wrestling Corner, which you can check out right up there. Yeah, I think I was saying, we can take a week off and just wait and talk about everything on this show. But I don't know. I'm just going to do it this way just because I'm just doing it now just because I can, I guess. I don't really have a reason. I'm just at the point where I'm just doing it just for the sake of doing it. So why not, right? But let's talk about the stuff I want to talk about. I'm going to talk about everything pretty much WWE related that happened last week. Last week's Raw review, NXT review, and SmackDown review, and pretty much anything newsworthy, because there is some newsworthy stuff I want to talk about. And yeah, I kind of can't wait to see. Kind of can't wait to do this video. I did watch Raw last week, but I'm probably gonna watch. I do have my notes and everything, and I remember most things that happened, but I'm probably gonna watch bits and pieces of the show again, just because of the fact that I watched it so long ago, I don't remember that part of the show. So I'm probably gonna watch bits and pieces, but I do remember most of the show. So let's talk about it. So Raw took place. Well, actually, Raw really just happened, and I'll talk about why it just happened. Raw happened on February 1st, 2016. And we had JBL, Michael Cole, and Byron Saxton on commentary for this show. And that's all I'm really going to say, and then I'll talk about the other stuff when I get a opportunity. So yeah, I'm going to watch part of the show, and then I'm going to make small videos and combine them all into big videos, and it will be really cool. So let's get right into it. Okay, so before I start talking about Raw, I would like to apologize for not getting this video up yesterday. I want to apologize. I really wanted to get it up yesterday, but I don't know. I was having such a shitty day yesterday. I'm not really going to get into why, because it's not really important. But I had a shitty day yesterday that I wanted the day just to be over, so I went to sleep. Didn't plan on it, just was kind of feeling that bad. Well, I went to sleep and wanted to have a new day, and you wake up and for a new day. I didn't plan on that happening. That just kind of happened. But I'm having actually a pretty decent day today, so I figured why not start by... So I figured I have more of a reason to want to get this video up. So I am definitely going to now... I am definitely going to get this video up today. So let's start talking about, so let me talk about Raw. I'm going to find my notes. Okay. So, it starts off with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman coming out. And Heyman says his original opening when he talks. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, and I am the advocate for the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar, or something. You know, it does. Yeah, it is that, but I completely messed up towards the end because Brock Lesnar. And he talks about how the Wyatt family tried to conspire against Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble, in the Royal Rumble match, to keep him out of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship picture. However, they failed. But eventually, Brock Lesnar will deal with Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family, because he is going to use the 11th commandment, thou shalt not potentially provoke the beast. Then Paul Heyman talks about how there's a triple threat match coming up at Fastlane. It's going to be and the winner. It's going to be brother versus Beast, and the winner. And he says that the winner faces Triple H at WrestleMania for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And Paul Heyman says that what's going to happen at Fastlane is he is going to absolutely destroy Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose and take them to Suplex City. And then he's going to F5 both of them. And then he's going to stack them up against each other, pin them. And then he's going to destroy the trophy husband, Triple H, and take the WWE World Heavyweight Championship from him at WrestleMania. And then Paul Heyman talks about how he shouldn't count out Dean Ambrose. So he wants Roman Reigns to warn Ambrose about the beating that he's going to endure at Fastlane, because Roman Reigns knows all about that from the match that they had at WrestleMania last year. And then Dean Ambrose comes up, and Paul Heyman even calls him a nut job, saying that he had to ride on one of the special type of buses and all that stuff. And then Dean Ambrose comes out, and he says, "Who are you calling a nut job, Porky?" And he says that he just wanted. He said that he was thinking about not coming out here. Hold on. He said he was actually questioning himself. It wouldn't be a good idea. But Dean Ambrose says that he may be crazy, but he's not stupid. And he's smarter than he looks. And he says that he knows the beating that Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns are going to give him, because he really wants, and he even says that he respects Brock Lesnar. And he even says that this is what it's like to be in the Beast's lair. And he says that he knows the beating that he's gonna get. He knows that he's gonna be taken to Suplex City, baby. And he knows that, and he knows what's gonna happen with Roman Reigns. But he said he's willing to take the beating to go on to face Triple H and become the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And Dean Ambrose then says, "Sorry, Paul, I just wanted to see what the fuss was all about." Then he walks off. And then when Dean Ambrose is leaving, Brock Lesnar says to Heyman, "Oh, there'll be some fuss, all right." So then they obviously do more with this later. And I kind of would like to see this match, actually, at WrestleMania. I actually like the dynamics between these two when they were having their segment. I thought it was outstanding, you know. And I think obviously this is just like a piece of what they can get. I think they could do a lot more. And I wish that they would do more. I'd rather see them face off at WrestleMania. I know it wouldn't make any sense because Dean Ambrose is the Intercontinental Champion, and why would you want to send Lesnar with the IC title? And it wouldn't really work if you wouldn't really believe Ambrose would have a chance to beat on Lesnar, so that wouldn't work either. But I'd rather see this than Bray Wyatt versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, because at least it's more believable that Dean Ambrose probably would actually go over. So yeah. So, yeah, but they do more with this later. And then we get the first match on the show. We get Kalisto versus Rusev with Lana inside, and Alberto Del Rio is doing guest commentary inside. And we find out that at Fastlane, Alberto Del Rio is going to be invoking his rematch clause for the United States Championship against Kalisto for the United States title. Which I'm not really. I'd like to see that match, but we've seen it, I think, like 3 times in the past month. So, I'd be fine seeing it again if they would change it up a little bit. But since it's just another regular one-on-one match, we're probably gonna get pretty much the same match, except a little bit better with a little more moves tweaked. If I was to book this match, I would actually book it to be a 2 out of 3 falls match because that would make sense since they both have victories over each other. It would have made sense. But this actually was a good match here. I thought their styles really meshed well together. Rusev being the big guy and Kalisto being that fast guy that has to try to come up with every move, also know to try to overcome the odds. I like these type of matchups where the little guy has to face the big guy. If it's the right type of big guy, if it's somebody that's like 7 feet tall and it's like someone like Kalisto's size, then it doesn't work. But it works in this case with Rusev because he's actually big enough where this match would work. And Kalisto plays mind games with him by going outside the ring, and then Rusev has to chase him, and then Kalisto drop kicks him in the face. And then Rusev starts dominating, being that big guy, and then Kalisto hits a hurricanrana outside the ring, and then he dives over the ropes, and Rusev catches him with a super kick, which was really cool. Well, not a super kick, but that big kick that he does. And then Rusev dominates the matchup for a while. And then Kalisto hits a tornado DDT to make a comeback, but Rusev kicks out of it. And then Rusev hits like a fallaway slam on, or at least a version of like a tilt-a-whirl slam on Kalisto. And then Rusev goes to, but Kalisto kicked out of it. Then Rusev goes to charge out of it in the steel post, but Kalisto moves out of the way, rolls him up, but Rusev kicks out of it. And then somehow Rusev ends up on the outside. I don't remember how. And Kalisto goes to dive on him on the outside. And Rusev catches him, but Kalisto's able to get out of it. He drop kicks him into the steel steps. And then the referee continues his count. And Alberto Del Rio stands up from on the announcer's table. And Rusev slams Kalisto on the announcer's table. And then Kalisto goes off the announcer's table, hits a hurricanrana into the barricade. And then he ends up getting back in the ring, and Rusev doesn't make it back in time. So he gets counted out here. And I like that they did this count-out finish because I thought it did make sense. He didn't want to have Kalisto lose because he has got a big championship match coming up. And it probably wouldn't have been maybe as believable if Rusev lost to Kalisto. I guess they wanted to protect Rusev a little bit. So this was fine. I thought the finish was fine. Then Del Rio tries to come in the ring and attack him, but Kalisto rolls out of the ring before he can get to him. So I actually like this stuff. This was cool. And then Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose were backstage. Stephanie McMahon, because Triple H has his title like in a frame, and Stephanie McMahon's pretty much trying to get them to go against each other. But Roman Reigns realized it's not going to work, so she puts him in a tag team match to see if they can work together against the New Day. I thought it was an okay segment. It wasn't anything special. And then Brie Bella gets interviewed about her sister Nikki Bella being having neck surgery. She obviously was a face. She talks about how she's recovering really well, and she's watching a lot of WWE Network, which obviously they probably told her to say that. And she said that, and they plugged the new show that they're going to be on. I forget what. Ride-Along. And then Charlotte comes up and wishes her condolences for her loss to not for a loss. I just made it, but that Nikki Bella was injured, and then she starts acting really cocky about it. About how she's pretty much the one that took her out because she took the title from her, and then they had the rematch at Hell in a Cell. So, and then it gets turned into a matchup later on. I thought it made sense. I think they turned Brie Bella face, which I'm fine with. I'm all down for Brie Bella being a face. I think it makes sense. And when I talk about my neck, because, well, if it happens, when I talk about my next in the Master Wrestling Corner on Friday, I think then I will be all supportive of her being a face when I talk about it. But because they can use this to get her sympathy, so I actually would be all down with Brie Bella being a baby face. And then we get the Usos versus Curtis Axel and Adam Rose with Heath Slater ringside. And the Usos actually were called the Global Award-winning Tag Team of the Year. Honestly doubt that, but okay. That's what Lillian Garcia said. So then the match takes place. Before the match happens, Axel, Rose, and Slater cut a promo. They just kind of talk some nonsense. They talk about how the Usos are family, but then they know that they've been a team longer than we have, but we actually got to pick each other. They didn't get to pick each other, which I guess makes some sort of sense. And then they ask where Bo is, so it was really cheesy. They're like, hey, where's Bo? Bo, I believe he's in the back, Adam Rose. It was really cheesy the way they were doing that. And then Heath Slater says that Bo Dallas says that he wasn't going to be here this week, because actually, I believe their grandfather, something's wrong with the grandfather. I forget his name off the top of my head, but that's why Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas weren't on the show this week, because they had a family issue, so that's why they weren't on the show this week. And then they talk about how they're going to beat down the Usos, but that doesn't happen because the Usos win. It was all very average. I mean, the match wasn't that bad, but a lot of the match was a headlock, so... But the match wasn't that bad, but it was just kind of average stuff, really. They're probably going to push the Usos to be somehow in the tag team title picture at WrestleMania. I'm not sure, but I'm assuming maybe that's what's happening. And then we get Miz TV with AJ Styles. The Miz introduces him, and pretty much he just talks about what AJ Styles has done before he came to WWE, but he doesn't mention he was in TNA ever. And AJ Styles never gets to talk. Miz never lets him talk. So when Miz keeps talking, AJ Styles decks him in the face and beats the crap out of him. So I actually didn't mind this. I thought it was good. I thought AJ Styles was really good here. I just hate the fact they're not letting him talk right now. I kind of wish they would let him cut a promo. But maybe they're going to build to that when they start having the feud with Jericho. Because I'll just say now later on, Jericho gets interviewed in this show. And he talks about how he's looking forward to seeing the match on SmackDown. Because they're going to have a match on SmackDown. Well, they already had the match, but they're having a match. And when I watch it later on, I'll obviously cover it on this video. I think they're building to that match, and I kind of like that they're doing like a little bit of a slow build to that match for WrestleMania, because I think that would be an amazing match to have at WrestleMania. And then I actually am all for Jericho versus Styles. I think they had a great matchup a couple weeks ago, and I think they could definitely up the ante at WrestleMania even. So we'll have to wait and see. Then we get Brie Bella with Alicia Fox versus Charlotte with Ric Flair. Pretty much it's the same matchup we see, except the roles are reversed. Charlotte's the heel and Brie Bella's the face. And Ric Flair gets on the apron and Alicia Fox tells him to get down. And then this allows and Charlotte tries to put Brie Bella into the figure 8, but Brie Bella counters with a roll up and wins, which makes sense because I think they probably are pushing for her to get a Divas title match either at Fastlane. Well, probably at Fastlane actually, so I was fine with this. This is going to probably launch off a feud between them. It was still kind of average, though. I mean, I would have even done the match. I probably would have waited till Fastlane to do the match. And maybe do a Charlotte versus Alicia Fox instead, and then have Brie Bella come in there and attack her afterwards. Just something different than just building up with the match. And then we get Eric Rowan with Luke Harper and Braun Strowman ringside versus the Big Show. Big Show's a face again. I like that he's face again. Big Show squashes him, which he always does to Eric Rowan. And he fights off the entire Wyatts and squashes Eric Rowan, which makes sense because I think they're building up to a Big Show Braun Strowman, so you want to have Big Show look like a giant. And Eric Rowan, unfortunately, is pretty much like the jobber of the Wyatt families anyway. So, and then afterwards, they all beat the crap out of him. And they throw him into the steel steps on the outside. Luke Harper hits a super kick. And then Rowan and Strowman like choke slam him on the steps. So yeah, they're building up to a Strowman Big Show match. I kind of hope they just have Big Show just absolutely annihilate Strowman because I think that would be pretty cool. I kind of hope they build up to a 6-man tag team match between these three guys, Eric Rowan, Harper, and Strowman, and have them face Big Show, Kane, and Mark Henry. and have Kane, Big Show, and Mark Henry, since I hear that they're going to have a one final matchup at WrestleMania. Have them actually overcome and win the match, and have them have one final send-off, and have Mark Henry get the pin since it's going to be in his hometown. I wouldn't complain about that, actually. Then we get Titus O'Neil versus Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze cuts one of those little video promos talking about how Titus O'Neil is pretty much an uggo. And Titus O'Neil wins with the Clash of the Titus. I like that the future in Titus O'Neil. I actually would like to see him progress up the code. I don't think he's going to hold the main WWE title. I would like to see him actually challenge for the title, though, and do a story with him. I wouldn't complain if he actually won the title, but that's not going to happen, but whatever. And then Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman are backstage, and Triple H comes up, and he tells Paul Heyman to leave, and he says, and he asks if Suplex City is getting soft, since he pretty much just let Dean Ambrose come talk to him the way he did and just leave and be able to walk out. And Brock Lesnar says, well, we'll see what happens when I face you for the title at WrestleMania. So I did like the altercation. I hope they don't do another Brock Lesnar Triple H match, though. Obviously, I don't think they're going to. Just because they've done all they could with that feud, and the matches that they have were just kind of got worse and worse over time. I mean, I'm not saying they were bad matches, but the original match was the best match, and I don't think the dynamics would really work right now. And they're not building that match anyways, so yeah. And then we get Dolph Ziggler versus Kevin Owens again. How many times are they going to show this match? We see this match all the time. I talked about this last week on the Massasoit Wrestling Corner, and I'm talking about it again. We see this match all the time. I mean, they have good matches together, but how many times do you have to see it? We've seen this match a ton of times. Don't do this match anymore. And apparently it's a feud, but it doesn't even feel like a feud. It just feels like two guys just having having matches together week after week after week. This isn't a feud. I mean, I'm just saying that. I mean, maybe it's just me, but this definitely isn't a feud. They did have good spots in the match where Dolph Ziggler hit the Fameasser on the floor, but that's about it. They have the same spots, but that's the only spot that was different in the match. And then Kevin Owens goes to finish him off with a pump-up powerbomb, but Ziggler counters it to the zigzag and wins. So they'll probably do this match again at Fastlane, which I'll give even less of a fuck about it. And I kind of hope Kevin Owens just kind of ends Dolph Ziggler's career. He can go off and do something else, and Dolph Ziggler can go off and work somewhere else like Ring of Honor, New Japan, Lucha Underground, even TNA. Probably not TNA, but and Road Dogg. I was going to mention this. I was thinking about mentioning this, but this match, this is a big example of it. It says that wins and losses don't matter in WWE. I didn't get to read the article, but I heard he said that. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Nowadays, though, wins and losses really don't matter in the WWE. Dolph Ziggler is not going to benefit from this win. He'll just be in the same spot that he's been in for years in the company. Kevin Owens will just be in the same spot he's in, and he'll probably just get his win right back anyways. So, but it's like, wins and losses should matter in WWE, because when you win an important match, you should move up the card. There needs to be like this code, like positions in the company where you have. Obviously, you have like the jobber status, then you got like the lower mid card, then you got the upper mid card, then you got the main event status. You have low main event status, and then you have like big main event status. Like what Brock Lesnar is, kind of. Brock Lesnar, you know, the champion. Because Brock Lesnar is pretty much high main event status. Any part-time is high main event status, and then anyone with the champion and people contending for the title. I understand they don't have that really right now because of all the injury list, but there needs to be wins and losses. There needs to be, wins and losses need to matter. Like, there's a reasons why they matter in football. You know, you face teams. I mean, I don't watch football, but you face teams, and you win, and as you win each game, you move up, and eventually to go on to the Super Bowl to win the Super Bowl. You know, you can win. It doesn't matter. You know, obviously, every win should matter. Like with football, every win doesn't matter. You qualify for the playoffs, and you win the important games. And that's kind of what this should be, you know. You win matches, and then you win a big important match. You qualify. Not even that. Well, you kind of go up the card. You get a future title shot, or you just move up the card. That's how it should be. I understand it can't be completely like that because I want wrestling to be different than kind of any other sport. But it would make. But in this case, this should be it because nothing really is going to change here. You know, this. I mean, nowadays I can agree with what Road Dogg is saying. I mean, he's being an idiot by saying it, but it makes sense. But wins and losses really don't matter. Anybody can win a match. Like, for example, Dean Ambrose has loses half his last summer, lost half his matches and got a title shot on a pay-per-view, a WWE title shot. So, and he always lost half his matches. So, I mean, John Cena can lose like a bunch of matches and he'll be in the title shot fine. So, I think that definitely needs to be like a win and loss. Win and losses definitely should matter in the WWE because it's just ridiculous. So then we get a Mark Henry video package. This was to support Black History Month because it is Black History Month. And I'm all for Black History Month. I'm not racist or anything like that. I'm just sick and tired of WWE pretending that they care about Black History Month because they don't care about it. It's the same thing with Martin Luther King Day. They don't care about that. If you think they care about it, you're fooling yourself. Like I talked about, they literally fired Hulk Hogan for racist bullshit. But yet they had the chairman of the company, Vince McMahon, come on WWE television, say the N-word with Booker T right there. They fired Alberto Del Rio in 2014 when he was being the one raced upon. They've given a lot of the black wrestlers stereotype gimmicks. And mainly, they have never had an African-American black WWE champion. Fully African-American black. Don't even tell me about the time Mark Henry won the World Heavyweight Championship and when Booker T was holding the World Heavyweight title. That's not their main title. Don't even tell me that. Don't even try to buy me on that. Don't tell me The Rock, because The Rock, they talk about his Samoan heritage and they never mention that he's black. So, that doesn't count to me. The Rock doesn't even mention that he's black. He always talks about his family's Samoan heritage. So don't even tell me that bullshit that The Rock is black. They don't care about Black History Month. They're just sucking up to Black History Month. They don't care about that. And if you think they care about it, look at that evidence right there. Because they don't care about that. They haven't cared about it for probably since the company's been in existence. They never will care about it, and it's just stupid. It's not just blacks that they race upon against. They race against the Asians, they race against the people from Japan. Pretty much if you're not white and Caucasian, you're not going to succeed in the WWE. Well, you'll succeed, but you won't be like WWE champion. That's just kind of how it is. I mean, I can't even think about the last time a black guy was in the main event of WrestleMania. That's pretty sad. I can't even think about the last time. I think the last time was when, and it's not even, and this is pretty sad, was when that football player came in and fought Bam Bam Bigelow at WrestleMania. I don't even remember his name off the top of my head. But that's still sad, because that's not even their guy in the main event of WrestleMania. It was just stupid. I don't even think about they care about Black History Month. But I actually did like the video package they did for Mark Henry. Like we talked about last week, Mark Henry's probably like one of the nicest guys you're going to meet in the wrestling business. He's a really uplifted guy, and I think he is retiring this year. There's probably is proof of that. Just because of the fact that this is the first time they've actually shown his video package. They're talking about that this could possibly be when he was going to go in the Royal Rumble match. That was possibly going to be his last Rumble match. So, I think Mark Henry definitely is going to be missing the wrestling business. Some of my favorite Mark Henry moments was when he took out Batista in 2006. And he looked really strong in 2006 until he got injured. And then when he came back, took out The Undertaker. That's like my first present I actually had gotten from Mark Henry. Was when he took out The Undertaker. I thought he looked like a badass taking out The Undertaker. And I liked it. And he looked strong then, even though then he lost. When his run in 2011, his Reign of Terror, the Hall of Pain, I loved that. I thought he was great, and he even shows him winning his first World Heavyweight Championship. And that 15-year struggle, I loved it. And then obviously, and then his fake retirement angle. When he had his fake retirement angle, and fooled Cena into thinking he was retiring, I really loved that. I wish they had shown that. I definitely miss the hair Mark Henry. I do still like this Mark Henry. I liked it when it actually the recent stuff I did like when he was pushed to face Rusev. I did like that. I thought he did a good job with that. And Mark Henry always does a good job. Mark Henry really is an uplifting guy. They've done a lot of crap with them, especially with this recent time. But he's really passionate about wrestling. He's really good with the kids. And he's really great. He always has his great one-liners, too. Where he'll say, where he'll say something like when Sheamus was talking about size don't matter. And he says, and then when he attacked him, he's like, it don't matter, huh? And then when he attacks someone, he's like, that's what I do. He's great. Mark Henry, I definitely think his presence is going to be missed when he leaves the WWE and has to retire. So I still remember, my favorite thing of all time was when he fooled Cena into retiring, his fake retirement angle, because I had a feeling he wasn't going to retire, but when he was crying and talking, he really sold that segment. I can't stress that enough. I think I talked about it then, and I definitely think Mark Henry's presence, like I talked about, is going to be missed in the wrestling business. So yeah, I can't wait. So yeah, but let's continue. So then we get Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch. I don't think they needed to do the match after what they did do. I understand you want to get a Divas match on the show, but with what you did with the Divas, you really didn't need a match. I mean, you could have just done Charlotte versus Brie Bella and then been fine, and then you do something with this later. But Sasha Banks cuts a promo talking about how now she's on her own. She doesn't have anybody holding her back. She's not living under anybody else's shadow. And she said that Becky Lynch may be whining and crying, saying that she deserves a rematch for the Divas title. But she says that she's going to be the one facing Charlotte for the Divas Championship. And then Naomi and Tamina Snuka come out, which I thought this made sense since they used to be a team. And when they were in Team Bad together. And Naomi says that they're proud that their young student who came up from NXT is now on her own. And they want to make sure that they just had a mutual breakup, that they're still good, that they're still friends. So then they do the Unity thing, which I kind of do like when they do the Unity thing. And then so then they stay inside for Becky Lynch's match because Sasha was like, "You're still my girls and you still got my back." So then the match was nothing. See, the match wasn't long. That's why I didn't think the match was needed. So they try to attack Becky Lynch on the outside, Naomi and Tamina, but Sasha tells them to go to the back, that she's got this. So then they attack Sasha, and then Becky Lynch helps her fight them off. So I think they're gonna do a tag team match at some point, not at Fastlane, but maybe on a Raw or a SmackDown, maybe SmackDown, with these divas if they haven't already done it. But I think they actually should have just had this all be a ruse and they not do the match, and they just attack Sasha Banks, and then Becky Lynch comes out to save. Never do the Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks match. I actually think that would have made more sense. But whatever. And then I already talked about the Chris Jericho interview, and then R-Truth is backstage, and he's about to go to the bathroom. He's in the bathroom, and when he opens the stall, Goldust is in there, and he has he's on the toilet, and he says he wants to know why R-Truth won't be his tag team and be Golden Truth, and R-Truth says, "Well, you're just weird." And Goldust is like, "What?" And he's like, "You have crap on your foot," and Goldust is like, "Oh." And then Goldust brings up, "Well, you think I'm weird? What about little Jimmy?" And he actually brought up little Jimmy, how he had an invisible little boy named Little Jimmy, and then I don't remember anything else that happens, but I remember this was a funny segment. I'm really loving these R-Truth Goldust backstage segments. I really hope they do become a tag team. I definitely think they're probably ripping off the Booker T Goldust stuff, and they're just using R-Truth, because it definitely kind of feels that way, but I definitely think they're coming up with their own material. So I think it's actually definitely working. And then we get the main event of the show. It's Kofi Kingston and Big E with Xavier Woods ringside versus Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose with Paul Heyman on commentary. That was actually kind of disappointing because Paul Heyman didn't really say anything on commentary. I was kind of disappointed. He didn't really say anything. So I was kind of disappointed about that, But the New Day cut a promo. Talk about The Rock. They call him the People's Booty. And they say that he's offended Francesca where she can't even sleep at night. And and then they talk about, how The Rock doesn't think of the kids because of all the stuff that he talks about. He doesn't think of the kids because this is a family-friendly show, and he's saying stuff that you shouldn't say on a family-friendly show. So they point out one of these kids, and he said, "We're fighting for you," and then the New Day say that, "Well, we'll fight you though, but we'll fight you for your helpfulness." And then they say that they're gonna get revenge by beating up The Rock's cousin and The Rock's cousin's friend, and they call him Ambrains. Well, I forget, but yeah, they call him Ambrains, and then they have the match. But I did like the promo. I thought Big E was really good. I like it when they talk too, when they say something. Kofi Kingston will actually point out what Xavier Woods is talking about. When he said the people of Boozy, Kofi Kingston was like, "I mean The Rock." I kind of like that. I think Kofi Kingston definitely nails these segments. He's actually gotten better because before really Xavier Woods and Big E are kind of the highlights of the segment. Kofi Kingston has his moments, but in the segments, but he really does shine at the points where he does shine. But I think they all do a great job though. So then we get the match itself. I thought it was a good match. Good main event for the show. They get the heat on Dean Ambrose for a while, and then eventually the match ends when Reigns beats Big E with a spear, I think. Then Brock Lesnar comes out, and Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston ambush him from behind, and they fight off Xavier Woods, and then Reigns and Kofi are on the outside fighting. And then Lesnar quickly gets in the ring, hits an F5 on Ambrose, and then that was it. You just see Reigns and Kofi on the floor. You don't know what happened to them because they had to go to that part of the show to kind of show what was happening with that. That was Raw this week, and I actually thought it was a pretty average show. It just felt like it lasted forever. And they did do stuff that I thought was good, but it just felt really average. You had that Titus O'Neil Tyler Breeze match. They used the tag team match. I don't know. It just felt like it lasted so long. Maybe because I was tired that day. But I'm just being honest. It really did feel like an average show. Didn't really feel like anything special happened. I did like the stuff that they did on the show. It just felt like it lasted forever. It wasn't like I was... After that, and Kevin Owens, I don't need to see Kevin Owens versus Dolph Ziggler again. So it just felt like Raw lasted. It just kept going on and on and on. And to be honest with you, after that Kevin Owens Dolph Ziggler match, I fell asleep because I just couldn't take seeing that match anymore. I actually fell asleep before that match even happened. I went to sleep. I didn't want to see the match again. I still went and watched the match, but I just thought Raw lasted a really long time. It just felt like it just never was. It was a never-ending show. I did like the Miz TV segment. I just really wish they would have AJ Styles cut promos. So hopefully he does cut promos eventually, because I definitely think he could deliver on the mic if the WWE gives him a microphone. I don't know why they won't give him a microphone. I'm kind of mad about that. But maybe they want him to stay quiet right now, and then he'll, like I said, he'll cut a promo. And I definitely think he should talk when the Chris Jericho feud happens, because I think that he could definitely deliver on the mic. He definitely can. We know he can. We've seen him deliver on the microphone before. But that's pretty much it, guys, for the Raw portion of the video. I'm going to go watch NXT now and then do the NXT portion of this video and get that up there for you. So I'll be back with my NXT review momentarily after I watch it and everything. Okay, so now on to NXT. Let me just get to my notes. Alright, so NXT took place on February 3rd, 2015. We had Corey Graves and Tom Phillips on commentary for this show. And it kicked off right with the match. We got the Vaudevillains versus the Hype Bros. I thought this was a good tag team match to open up the show. I actually thought it was solid. I actually think Mojo Rawley had improved in this match. He definitely seemed like he had improved from what previous. So I definitely think that's a positive sign. And I think the Hype Bros are actually starting to become a good tag team. They can get annoying at times, but I think they're starting to be a good fit for each other. So I actually like this. And the Vaudevillains, I actually liked in this match. They're definitely heel now. And I actually like that they're kind of, I guess, going the heel direction because the NXT's kind of running out of heel tag teams, so it makes sense to turn the Vaudevillains heel because you don't want to turn any other tag team heel because a lot of the other tag teams are too over to be heels, so it makes sense. The Vaudevillains, I mean, they weren't as over as these tag teams are, is what I'm trying to say. So it's easy to make the switch. And the Vaudevillains win when Zack Ryder tried to go for the broski boot, and Aiden English moved Simon Gosh out of the way. And the Vaudevillains hit the Roland Dervish on Ryder for the win. So, good tag team match to open up the show. And then we get Carmella gets interviewed, and it's like one of those sit-down interviews. And Tom Phillips was interviewing her, and she gets asked how it felt for her to win that NXT Women's Battle Royal to become the #1 contender to the Women's Championship. And she said that it's a feeling that she's never going to forget. She said it was an amazing feeling. And she says that a lot of people, because we only really know her from from being with Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy. So they say she gets asked. He wants to know a little bit more about Carmella, and we actually find out that Carmella comes from family. There was a wrestler in the '90s named Paul something. I forget his last name, and He probably, I don't know really much about him, but she says that Paul used to be a submission wrestler, so wrestling's in her blood, and she said that she wanted to do this, and Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy helped to get to this point, and then they talk about the friendship with Bayley, and she says that they're still our best friends, but they're professional enough to treat this like an NXT Women's Championship match. You know, when the champion's on the line, they're going to do whatever it takes to win. So I like that they said that. And then she says that she's going to win. She's going to beat Emma tonight and show her that she does deserve to be the #1 contender to the NXT Women's title and NXT Women's Champion. And then that was it. I actually like this. They actually had Carmella act like her real self, but they also kept her in her gimmick. So I like this interview, and it's something different for a woman. You don't really see a woman sit down interview that often anymore. So I actually I really liked this interview. I actually thought that we got some insight on who Carmella was, and I liked it. So then the mechanics get interviewed, and Dash is talking about how the Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy want a rematch for the NXT Tag Team titles. But they had their shot at NXT TakeOver London, and they failed. They said they were going to win. They failed. And they're not going to get an NXT tag team title shot anytime soon. And they also say that the top of the food chain of the NXT Tag Team Champions, they are the best NXT Tag Team Champions of all time. And I did like their promo. They are kind of a generic gimmick. And I kind of do want them to get the titles off them in a way. But I think they're good in the win. I just think for them as NXT Tag Team Champions, I just don't think they fit that role in a way, just because I think they're just too generic for that. I think they need to drop the straps, just because they're not really doing anything really either. I understand because you have to build the tag teams for challengers to face them, but I just think that they're kind of, with all the stuff, they're all the other teams in TNA, not TNA, within NXT, that they should not be holding, that they need to get new champions. I actually would rather see somebody else hold the tag team titles. And I think eventually that's going to happen. I do like the way they're building up this NXT tag team title feud between Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy and the Mechanics, because they're actually trying to give it purpose again. So I actually like that. And then next we get Carmella versus Emma with Dana Brooke ringside. Good match, good women's match here. And Carmella went with a roll-up, so I like this matchup, and Emma looked good in the match, and I think they kept Emma strong, because I feel like they want to do a match with Emma, and do it with Bayley maybe in the future for the NXT Women's title, and this made Carmella look strong, because next week she's going to be facing, well, it already happened, because I haven't seen this week's episode of NXT yet, but next week she's going to be facing Bayley for the NXT Women's title, so I'm glad that she went over, and she looked strong in the match. And then Sami Zayn gets interviewed about what he thinks happened in the match, in the triple threat match, when Baron Corbin tapped out. And Sami Zayn said it's not up to him. William Regal gets the final decision, but in his opinion, he had Baron Corbin and the sharpshooter longer, so he probably tapped out. He thinks, in his opinion, he tapped out to the sharpshooter since he had the sharpshooter in longer. So I did like his promo, but he said it's not up to me, it's up to William Regal. And then Samoa Joe gets interviewed, but he just gets pissed. He's too pissed to talk. And then American Alpha video. It shows an American Alpha video package. I liked how the feature in American Alpha. This was a way to feature them without actually having them to be on the show. And I think they're actually building them up to be future NXT Tag Team Champions because they're really over with the crowd. I think it would make sense. And then we get Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy versus two jobbers. They come out and do their original say, "My name is Enzo Amore, and I'm a bona fide G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is Big Cass, and he's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that." Bada boom, realest guys in the room. And then he cuts a promo talking about how if he had a dime for every time that got knocked down, they didn't get back up, they would have 0 dimes because that's what G's do. They get back up when stints get tough, and they tell the mechanics that they're gonna become the brand new WWE NXT Tag Team Champions. Colin Cassidy says, and for one, if you guys, for anybody that thinks that we're gonna stay down, we got one word to describe you, and I'm gonna spell it out for you. SAWFT. Soft. I love this tag team. And they squashed two jobbers, which made sense. I thought this made them, it was an enhancement match, and I thought this made them look strong. Enzo Amore won with the elbow drop and there was one spot where Colin Cassidy threw one of the guys outside the ring. They didn't say the name, so I can't tell you. And he just landed wicked hard on the floor. Thought that was then he hit the metal. I thought that looked kind of not bad, but that looked pretty brutal. What the hell just happened? What the hell happened? I think something happened to my webcam. Okay, I don't know. That was weird. My webcam just like flipped mirrors. Sorry about that. I was trying to minimize it, but I don't know why I did that. Okay, next, Apollo Crews gets interviewed, and he says that he was this close to becoming the NXT champion, but Baron Corbin ruined it for him. And he said that tonight he's going to prove to himself that he can beat Finn Balor because they're having the match tonight. So I did like this build up to this feud. I liked how they had them have a non-title match, but they actually built up to this match. It made sense for it to happen, so I liked it. And then William Regal makes his final decision about what he's gonna do for the about who the #1 contender to the NXT Championship is. And before he can make his decision, Baron Corbin walks in and says that there is gonna be a rematch and you're gonna put me in it. But William Regal says, "Well, you lost because it makes sense because he tapped out, so you're not in it." And Baron Corbin says that this is unacceptable, so he's probably going to get mad. William Regal then says that next week, that in 2 weeks, there's going to be another #1 contenders match between Sami Zayn and Samoa Joe, and whoever wins that will be the #1 contender to the NXT Championship, which I think makes sense to do it that way, just because if they just went the triple throat scenario, it would have been too predictable. I actually like that they're going to have another match, and I actually can't wait to see Sami Zayn versus Samoa Joe. I think that's going to be a great matchup, and I can't wait to see that. And then Asuka completely squashes Santina Garrett. I don't know why Santina Garrett thought she was taking this chick down. It doesn't, but I'm obviously talking kayfabe, but she did hit a couple of moves, and she hit a Russian leg sweep out of nowhere and nearly got the 3 count, so. But Asuka, I actually kind of can't wait to see what they do with Asuka in the future. I think she has a really great future in NXT. I definitely see her holding the NXT Women's title. And I can't wait to see what they do with Asuka in the future. I think she's going to look like a tank in the future. And then Finn Balor gets interviewed, and he talks about how William Regal made the right decision, and he's looking forward to see who he's going to face next for the NXT Championship. And he says that tonight Apollo Crews will be certain that Finn Balor is the better man. So then we get the main event. It's Apollo Crews versus Finn Balor. And immediately right off the bat, they start off by they shake hands as a sign of sportsmanship. And then they just start chain wrestling each other. And then Apollo Crews gets the upper hand with a drop kick. And then eventually Finn Balor gets the upper hand. He hits a double stomp right to Apollo Crews' head. And then he hits 4 chops in the corner, tries to get him, but he kicks out of it. And then Apollo Crews makes a comeback. He hits a splash in the corner. And then Finn Balor hits an Enzuigiri. He goes to attack Apollo Crews, but he hits a clothesline off the apron. And then Apollo Crews goes for a moonsault on the outside, but Finn Balor is able to move out of the way. Then Finn Balor hits his dive on the outside. And then he hits a double stomp to the back of the head like he would do the coup de grace. And Apollo Crews kicks out. Then Apollo Crews hits a tackle. At first I thought Finn Balor had hit the DDT, but Apollo Crews hit the tackle, so I thought that was a great spot in the match. And then Apollo Crews hits a Samoan drop, but Finn Balor kicks out. Then he hits the Luthez press. No, that's not what happens next. Then Finn Balor hits the Sling Blade, and then he goes to hit the drop kick into the turnbuckle, but Apollo Crews hits a big boot on him. And then Apollo Crews hits the Luthez press and the moonsault, but Finn Balor was able to kick out of it, which was a surprise. I thought Apollo Crews was going to win the matchup right there. And then Finn Balor hits a Sling Blade, and then drop kick into the corner, and then he hits the coup de grace, but Apollo Crews starts getting to his feet. So then Finn Balor grabs him into like a double arm, and he does like a double arm brain buster to Apollo Crews and gets the victory. And Finn Balor goes over, and I think everyone's going to probably say that Finn Balor looked weak, and this made Apollo Crews look bad since he just lost this match. It's probably going to take him out. They're probably going to de-push him now. I actually don't see it that way. Here's why. I know this is going to be a minor reason, but I think it's a reason in itself. Usually when Finn Balor hits the coup de grace, that's usually the match right there. That's usually the end. The fact that they had to have Finn Balor go that extra length to beat Apollo Crews, I think made Apollo Crews really strong. The fact that he had to do one extra move to keep him down, I thought still made Apollo Crews really strong. And he did nearly beat him. And I think it makes sense to do a clean finish. Just because I thought Baron Corbin was going to come out again, and I was thinking, yeah, that makes sense since, he's upset. But I think then that would have made this match just feel like a waste of time just because it would have been a rehash finish. And they were building to having a clean finish, so it makes sense to do it. And Finn Balor, you do got to make him look strong as the champion because he's the guy that everyone's got to go up against. And you want to make him look impossible to beat. And then they probably would have to do something with Apollo Crews. I definitely don't think Apollo Crews is going to get de-pushed. I do see him. I think this match was just to showcase that he could possibly be a future NXT champion, though. And like I said, the fact that Finn Balor had to hit that extra move does make him look strong. So, then afterwards they shake hands and then they leave, and that was it. I thought this was a great episode of NXT. It was just a nice, simple wrestling show, and that's all you needed. Everything I liked on the show. There wasn't anything I hated, so I thought this was a great episode. If I had to rate it, I'd probably rate it a 10 out of 10. Because I thought it was perfect. There wasn't anything I hated, so I thought this was a perfect episode of NXT. So now, but there is some more NXT news I want to cover, but I have to get to. Let me see if I don't think I have the article up. No, I do have an update. Because there was something big going on with NXT that I think that needs to be covered. And here's the name of the article. Big update. WWE confirms Finn Balor injured at NXT live event. Will he compete tonight? Well, this article was made on February 6, 2016. So, obviously this is an old article. Well, I mean, it's somewhat of an old article. But I'm gonna go off this article because the article I read before that's recently updated sucks. So let's read it. WWE.com has confirmed that NXT champion Finn Balor suffered an ankle injury at last night's, which isn't really last night, but this is, like I said, the article's old. Well, not old, but you know what I mean. At last night's live event in Nashville, WWE physician, I think that says, Dr. Chris Abman, I don't know how to say his last name, commented on the injury and noted the following about the NXT champion status for tonight's event in Indianapolis. Finn Balor suffered an ankle injury and will be unable to compete tonight. Balor will be undergoing further evaluation on Monday, and he tweeted the following photo. Balor competed against Samoa Joe in the main event of last night's live event. However, it is unknown how and when the injury took place. And then it shows a picture of him in crutches. Then that's it. Another thing, but let me just continue going on. Let me see if I can find the most recent one to see if I can... okay, here's an update on it. From whatculture.com. Make sure to check out his YouTube channel. It's great. It says, in case you haven't been on the internet this weekend, the big news is that NXT champion Finn Balor injured his ankle on Friday night during a... and this article was created on... Didn't say, but... during an NXT house show in Nashville, Tennessee. Luckily for Balor and WWE, who have experienced a plethora of major injuries in recent months, the injury does not appear to be serious. According to various reports making the rounds, Balor sustained a sprained ankle when he used his coup de grace finisher on Samoa Joe. Balor left the arena on crutches with an ice wrapped on his leg and needed help getting into a car after the show. We're told that Balor will be reevaluated on Monday, where he returns to the WWE Performance Center in Florida. Luckily, a sprained ankle is an injury that typically keeps people out of action for only a few weeks. Hold on, something just popped up, so I have to get rid of it. For only a few weeks, though, there are various grades of ankle sprains. Unless WWE finds something else wrong with Balor during their medical reevaluation, he should be fine to go when NXT has their big takeover event in Dallas during WrestleMania weekend. Taping matches for NXT television during his recovery period also will not be a problem, as NXT has already filmed all of the WWE Network episodes for airing through early March. A new episode has surfaced online which shows the coup de grace where Finn injured himself on Friday night. You can check it out below. So let me just... Finn did not wrestle at the NXT live event in Louisiana on Saturday night, though he did participate in the event. After the third match of the evening, which featured NXT Women's Champion Bayley versus Alexa Bliss, Bayley called out Finn. Finn came out to the ring, hugged Bayley in the ring, and they had a moment together doing his entrance mannerisms together, complete with Balor falling over on his crutches. WWE has posted a video of the Bayley-Balor segment, which can be viewed at this link. And I'm going to go on the link and watch it later. Let me get out of that. But I need to know it's... so I think it says it's just a sprained ankle, but... Let's see if I can find one from... So this is the one... This one's the most recent one. So let me see what they said. Finn Balor's WWE NXT journey is stalled due to a bad wheel. The NXT champion joined the crowded WWE injured list, but his attitude and about the injury suggests it's not as serious as those affecting Randy Orton, Hideo Itami, and others. Still, officials can't be thrilled to see a top star walking around on crutches. So, I think it actually... So, it's from what I'm reading right now, it doesn't seem serious. It does seem like he is going to be willing to go, like, by the time TakeOver comes around. And it's not going to affect NXT just because of the fact that, just due to the fact that they're going to have all the events taped, from early March. So, at least it's not going to actually affect NXT. So, that's actually a good thing. So, I'm happy about that. So I'm happy that they're not going to lose Finn Balor, because I do think it will kind of hurt NXT in a way if they lose him right now, just because. But I think the NXT, what the thing is, their roster doesn't look as bad right now. They would still have enough guys, I think, to keep it going. And Finn Balor obviously could come back, because now they have their guys. But now recently, a bunch of NXT talent's been released. We about 6 wrestlers. We had Bull Dempsey. I'm not gonna complain about that really. I just never really saw it in Bull Dempsey. I didn't really think he had what they were looking for. So I don't really think it's gonna hurt that much to lose Bull Dempsey. I just didn't really think he had what it took in the WWE. Maybe he has what it takes somewhere else, but I just never thought he had what it took. Also, Sylvester LaFour. Now now I can't comment on him because the only time I really saw him was when he got squashed. So he was really just enhancement talent. So that's not really going to affect him. But I don't really remember much of him anyway. So, and then you have Marcus Louis. I didn't mind his gimmick, but like I said, I don't really know. It's not really going to affect NXT. I think, like I've talked about before, if NXT goes longer, the problem is NXT is only an hour, so they can't per week, and they have to try to use all their stars. And okay, hold on. But yeah, and they don't have a lot of time to get these stars on the show, so it's tough for wrestlers to get wrestlers on the show. But Marcus Louis, Oscar Vasquez, and Pete Howard. We never saw him on TV anyway, so that's definitely not going to hurt NXT. But we don't know why. Maybe we don't. But Bull Dempsey, I'm not that shocked that either of these guys got released, just because most of them were either enhancement talent or other things. I don't think it's gonna hurt NXT's roster, and this doesn't hurt NXT at all. But that's all the NXT news I can give you. I think next week, I can't wait to see the next show, because I think on the next show, Austin Aries is gonna debut. I thought it was gonna be this show, but because James told me it was this show. But I remember now. I don't think it was this show, because it wasn't in Full Sail when he debuted. I think it's gonna be this episode, because they're not gonna be in Full Sail for this episode. So I think he's gonna debut on this episode, because I can't wait to see him on NXT. I can't wait to see what Austin Aries go to NXT, and I hope. I don't think Austin Aries is gonna go back to TNA, but you just never know when it comes to wrestling. Anything can happen in the wrestling business. So I do hope they keep Austin Aries, then they get him for good, and they have him under contract. So we're gonna have to wait and see. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I think about NXT. I think I've talked about everything that's happened last week at least. So I definitely think that's it for NXT. So, but that's pretty much it, guys. Now I'm gonna cover SmackDown, and then I think that will be the end of this video. But now I have to get to the SmackDown portion of this review of this episode. Okay, so I'm in my room right now because I'm too lazy to move, so I'm just gonna stay here in bed. So just kind of deal with it. I'm trying to find SmackDown. SmackDown took place on February 11th, 2006. It's not the right date. It actually took place on February 4th. That's this week's SmackDown, this week. So, it took place on February 4th, 2016. And we had Byron Saxton, Mauro Ranallo, and Jerry the Kid Lawler on commentary for this show. We got Roman Reigns versus Rusev with Alberto Del Rio and Ken Barrett ringside. I like that they actually kicked off with a match with a change. It's been a while since they've done that. And Rusev, Reigns goes out to the ring to chase off Del Rio for no reason, really. And then Rusev and Reigns start fighting on the outside. Rusev throws him into the steel steps. He dominates the first half of the match. Then Reigns starts to make a comeback. He goes at the Superman punch, but Barrett and Del Rio interfere, so Reigns wins by disqualification, and they beat Reigns down all over the place. And then Dean Ambrose comes out, makes the save. He attacks Rusev. He clotheslines him out of the ring, and then Bale and Del Rio were beating up Roman Reigns outside the ring. So then Ambrose went to dive off the apron and do an elbow drop to him. But they move and he accidentally hits Reigns. So then they started beating up Ambrose. Del Rio kicks him in the head. Then Rusev gets him in the accolade, but then Reigns thwards him off with a chair. I thought this was good. Here, Jerry the King Lawler kept saying that they think they're going to implode him because he's a heel commentator. And I like how now he's calling Byron Saxton BS because anytime Byron Saxton says something that he doesn't agree with, because actually Byron Saxton's initials is BS, and also, that also means bullshit. So I kind of like how he does that. And then Dean Ambrose gets interviewed by Renee Young backstage, and she asks if there's any dissension, if he meant to do that to Roman Reigns, and Dean Ambrose says that sometimes he gets a little nuts and he gets a little carried away sometimes, but him and Reigns are still on the same page, and he would let Reigns know if he's coming for him, and he is coming for him at Fastlane. And then they announced that they're going to do a tag team match, Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose versus Alberto Del Rio and Rusev. So there's the main event. Then we get Kalisto versus Kevin Owens with Dolph Ziggler on commentary. I just really want Dolph Ziggler to go away at this point. Like I talked about, he just doesn't seem happy with WWE. You kind of can tell that he's faking a smile. And I really don't want to see a Kevin Owens-Dolph Ziggler feud, because that means we have to see another Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler match. And I don't want to see another match because they showed this match pretty much all the time. So I just want them to end this feud and just have Kevin Owens just kill Dolph Ziggler. But I like the match between Kevin Owens and Kalisto. Kevin Owens hit a back suplex into a gut buster, which I liked. And then Kalisto hit a lot of unique fancy moves. He hits a hood of and DDT that Kevin Owens kicked out of, a springboard crossbody. And then they start fighting on the outside. And Kevin Owens power bombs Kalisto into Dolph Ziggler. And then he super kicks Dolph Ziggler. Then he gets him back in the win. Ziggler distracts Kevin Owens, and Kalisto rolls him up for the win. And then Owens ambushes Kalisto, and he runs away before Ziggler can get to him. So I still thought Kevin Owens looked pretty strong, and I think they want to push Kalisto right now and make him look really strong as a champion. So I liked that. And then The Miz gets interviewed because he's having a match with AJ Styles, and he's upset because he was just trying to make AJ Styles a superstar, because he took Daniel Bryan to the main event of WrestleMania and himself to the main event of WrestleMania, and those were two of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. And he's also upset that people keep interrupting him, but he keeps interrupting JoJo, who was interviewing him, every time she tries to ask him a question. And then he's upset that he didn't get a role in the movie, and then one of his movies didn't make didn't make the Oscars. And then we get Ryback versus Eric Rowan with Braun Strowman. Ryback doesn't wrestle in a singlet anymore. He just comes out in straight up trunks now. And he looks like Goldberg now. Now he really does look like Goldberg. So the Goldberg chance, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if they came back. And Ryback wins with the Miho clothesline after disposing of Braun Strowman when he throws Eric Rowan into him. And then Strowman ambushes him from behind, but Ryback's still able to walk off okay. It was alright. Then Becky Lynch gets interviewed, and I actually like this segment here. She gets asked, why did she help Sasha Banks fight off Naomi and Tamina Snuka if she's threatened to also take his spot and go for the Divas Championship. And before she can say anything, Sasha Banks comes up and says that we're going to turn this into an episode of Table for Three. She said that she didn't need Becky Lynch's help, and Becky Lynch says, look, you stepped up, you made an impact in the Divas division by a cheap shot at me. I wanted just to help you out, because when I see somebody in trouble, I help them out, which I like, because it's a very babyface thing to say. And then Sasha Banks says that she would have lasted longer than she didn't need her help. She would last longer with Naomi and Tamina longer than Becky Lynch did. And Becky Lynch says, well, you look like you needed it on Raw. And Sasha said, and look like you're now a target. And then Sasha says, well, you're a target now too.
And then Becky says, well, then we're going to have to look together to get rid of him. She's like, fine. But then she says, and then I'm going to go after the Divas title. And then Sasha says, not if I get there first. And then they're like, good. And I actually like this. I actually thought this was actually really cool. It actually felt believable. So even though it did feel like stuff that high school girls would say, it actually just kind of felt believable. Like a conversation that real women would have when they hate each other. And then we get the Miz versus AJ Styles with Chris Jericho on commentary. Chris Jericho, I thought, did a good job on commentary. He is technically feuding with AJ Styles, but he also talked about his strengths, talked about what he was good at. And I did like the match here between the Miz and AJ Styles. AJ Styles was really aggressive in this match, and he just starts off right off the bat by just beating the crap out of Miz, hitting suplexes on him, and then he hits a springboard dive on the outside. And then Miz pulls him down face first into the apron. And then Miz gets the heat on AJ Styles. And then AJ Styles makes a little bit of a comeback. And he hits a springboard forearm and a Death Valley driver into a knee to the head. Miz hits a DDT on AJ Styles. And what else? Miz hits a clothesline, which looks pretty cool. And then Miz goes for a clothesline in the corner, but then he counters into the springboard forearm. And then AJ Styles tries to go for the Styles Clash several times, but Miz kicks reversing it. AJ Styles hits a Pele, Miz kicks out. And then AJ Styles wins with the Calf Crusher, which is the calf killer, but they're calling it the Calf Crusher. I liked how Momo Ronaldo called it. And Miz taps out. Then Chris Jericho comes in the win, and he says that he's very good, but he wants to know that if he's great, and not everybody can beat Chris Jericho, but he wants to know if he can do it twice. So he challenges him to a match next week on SmackDown. They shake hands. They have a really intense face-to-face, and AJ Styles says, I'm not great, Chris. I'm phenomenal. So I like this. I can't wait for the match next week. Technically this week on SmackDown. Then we get a Roman Reigns interview, and he says that and he gets asked if him and Dean Ambrose are on the same page, and he says that him and Roman Reigns are never reading the same book, and they're on the same book, but they're not on the same page. Dean Ambrose is a little crazy, but that's what he likes about him, and he says that tonight we're gonna take care of the League of Nations, and then at Fastlane is gonna get serious. Then we get the New Day versus Heath Slater, Adam Rose, and Curtis Axel. Before that, the New Day cuts a promo talking about how they have something that everybody else doesn't have, and that's gold. And they say that they ride in pretty much high up in the mountain, and they're just looking down at all the caterpillars, and they're beautiful butterflies. I actually like the promo. And then Heath Slater, Curtis Axel, and Adam Rose come out, and they ask where Bo is, and they say that Bo is still rapping some tracks. And they say that their titles are actually bronze, and they're going to take them from their waists. And then they say, well, they're not going to touch our waists. And then they have the match. I thought it was a good, solid tag team match. They get the heat on Adam Rose for a while, and then he counters a spine buster. Xavier Woods hit a sick DDT in this match as well. And then Curtis Axel gets the hot tag, sort of. Axel and Kofi keep trying to hit moves on each other. And eventually Kofi goes for Trouble in Paradise, counters. Axel finally gets a move on him. And then everybody just starts fighting with each other. Curtis Axel tries to beat Kofi by using the ropes, but Xavier Woods takes him off. And then Kofi asks Curtis Axel after holding the ropes. And then we get Charlotte with but I like the match though. And I like that there was just heel versus heel, but I think the Social Outcasts were more face. Then we get Charlotte with Ric Flair versus Alicia Fox with Brie Bella. Okay matchup. Charlotte beat you with the figure 8, but it was an okay matchup. I liked what they did. And then R-Truth's at a hotel, and he's about to check out, and he says that he loved the hotel, but he's wondering why he's getting charged for stuff that he didn't do. And then Goldust comes up working as a bellhop, and he wants to help him with his bags, but R-Truth doesn't want his help, and Goldust asks him why he won't let him be his tag team partner. and R-Truth just says, "You're a weirdo," and then Goldust says, and they fight over helping the suitcase, and Goldust says that he'll have R-Truth thrown out of here, if he doesn't let him help him. And then R-Truth says, "You don't even work here." And then they accidentally drop the bag, and they put their clothes away. And he's like, "I'm sorry." He's like, "You're a weirdo." And then R-Truth walks away, and Goldust says, has his underwear, and he tells R-Truth, "You forgot your underwear." And R-Truth takes his underwear and says, "Weirdo." And then Goldust says, "I can, if you don't want him anymore, I can fit into him," which was weird he'd say that. And I love this. These segments just get better and better every time. I hope they just continue doing these segments every week because they're really funny. And then we get Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns versus Alberto Del Rio and Rusev with Kim Barrett ringside. The heels get the heat on Roman Reigns for a while, and then Dean Ambrose gets the hot tag, but then Rusev and Del Rio get the upper hand for like a couple minutes. Dean Ambrose fights off, and then Dean Ambrose tags in Roman Reigns, and he gets attacked by Del Rio. Ambrose goes to dive on Del Rio, but he accidentally dives into Reigns, but he's able to catch him, and Reigns is like, "What are you doing, man?" Then Reigns hits a Superman punch on Rusev, and a spear for the win. And then that was it. I actually thought SmackDown was a pretty good show this week. I give it a 6 out of 10. Actually, 6 out of 10. I thought it was a pretty good show this week. And that's pretty much it, guys. There's one more thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to talk about it I'm going to talk about it after I watch the match that I want to watch. Okay, so before I end off this video, I figured something I'd talk about was the match. Not the match, but the live event that Brock Lesnar appeared at. He showed up at a live event on February 6, 2016, and he showed up in San Jose, California. And I've talked about it in the past. I think if they're going to have Brock Lesnar at these live events, they need to air it on the network or something, because Brock Lesnar's the biggest draw that they have, and the fact that they're not airing these as segments is an absolute joke. We've talked about it in the past, but they clearly aren't going to do that. On the other end, because that's the negative part of it, that's what they should be doing. But on the positive side, the fact that Brock Lesnar's showing up at these live events is going to increase their live event attendance, because that would make it look like you never know who's going to show up at these live events. Brock Lesnar could show up at this event, so there's a positive on it, then there's a negative on it. So let me talk about what he did at this event. So we had a match. He had Paul Heyman in his corner, and he had a match against Rusev with Lana in his corner. And Paul Heyman grabs a microphone first, and he says that Rusev and Lana are Russian, so they won't understand what they're saying. But Rusev is Russian to get to take a trip to Suplex City, which I liked that line. And then he introduces Brock Lesnar, and they have the match. Rusev dominates, gets a lot of offense in. He gets heel kicks. He gets him in the corner, but he never really locks Lesnar off his feet. He does hit a super kick on him, then a heel kick, but then that locks Lesnar off his feet. And then he tries to put him in the accolade, but Lesnar slips out of it. Hits 4 German suplexes, and as he does each one, he counts it off afterwards, which I think is something he should start doing on TV. Which maybe he'll do that at Fastlane. And then he hits an F5 for the win, so he pretty much squashed him, which makes sense because that's Brock Lesnar, that he's a beast, that's what he should be doing. Then afterwards, Lana says that the bell never rang, so Rusev's the winner. If you guys hear the bell, you're all stupid. And then Brock Lesnar just comes back in the win and F5s him again and then leaves. And I liked it. It was good. And I'm going to end off the video now. That's all I really have to say. This is the end of the Aftershock Corner. Make sure you check out the playlist with the Aftershock Corner and check out the past episodes. Make sure to check out the Massasoit Wrestling Corner, because we're going to be uploading a video. Right now it's 11 o'clock. So it's right now it's as of tomorrow, but it may get uploaded at midnight. I'm not sure. But we're going to be uploading a video on there tomorrow. And we're going to talk about probably all this stuff again, except a different show. Make sure to check out the Retro Wrestling Review Series. I'm going to try to make an episode this weekend. Make sure to check out Owen the other stuff on the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel itself for other content on the channel. Make sure to check out the Facebook page for all this stuff, Retro Wrestling Review Series, Wrestling Fortune 44, Master Wrestling Corner, the Aftershock Corner. Make sure to check out my Owen the Talkinator YouTube channel. I'm going to try to make a Facebook page for that channel as well, so that way I can, update you on what goes on with that channel like I do with this channel. Make sure to check out my CM Brothers YouTube channel. I'll probably make a Facebook page for that show as well. And that's about it, I think. Make sure to check out all the other stuff down in the description box. I'm just kind of out of it right now, so I don't feel like going in more detail. But make sure to check out all my stuff, all James's stuff that's in there. Marissa, the Pro Football Reporters, Steve's YouTube channel, Chris's, John Tuddy's, and Jaren's. Make sure to check out all the YouTube channels, and that's pretty much it, guys. I'll talk to you guys some other time.